We're going to start off by making the magic ring. So leave a little bit of a white tail, and then we are going to take the white yarn and wrap the yarn around our finger 2 times, like this, right? And then with your thumb, you're going to hold on to this part. So now we're going to go underneath these two, pull the working yarn, which is the yarn attached to the ball, or it's this one. Pull it through and twist like this. And then yarn over. So I like to yarn over by simply putting my hook underneath the working yarn and then pull through. So there's your magic ring. And now we are going to make 8 single crochets in a magic ring. So to do that, I'm going to go underneath these 2 loops, yarn over again by putting your hook underneath the working yarn and pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook. So this is the first loop, this is the second. And then yarn over and pull through. So that's 1 single crochet. Let's do it again. Go underneath these 2, yarn over, pull. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through. Pull through. So we're going to keep doing this until we have 8. So now that we've made 8, I'm going to take my fingers off, and then we are going to put our thumb inside the hole, and then you see that tail, the short tail, we're going to pull on it downwards. So tug on it here, downwards, until one of these 2 tightens on your finger, like you'll feel that it tightens. So for me, it's the one on the left, but that doesn't mean that it's gonna be on the left for you. It could be the one on the right. So I'm going to take my finger off and I'm going to pull on the one on the left, like this way, right? Until the one on the right tightens. So you see it's tightened. And now to tighten the one on the left, we are going to go back and tug on the one small tail that we have and pull on it downwards again, like this. And make sure you're gentle because this is plush yarn. And there you go. So I'm going to put a stitch marker in the last stitch. So for me, it is this one right here. But if you can't see where it is, you can always tug on your yarn, the one on your hook, right? You're going to pull on it like this to stretch it out, and then you can always see the stitch that's closest to the loop that's on your hook. So for me, again, it's this one. So then I'm going to put it and close it. And then to tighten now the loop again on your hook, we're going to pull, not on this one, not on the yarn, the small yarn tail that we have left. We're going to pull on the working yarn tail. And there you go. So now we are going to do increases. So to do an increase, you're going to go into the next stitch. So go into this stitch and make sure to go into both parts, right? So a stitch has like 2 parts. You see that I'm separating them, but make sure to go into both parts. Yarn over and pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both. So that's 1 single crochet, if you noticed. Now we're going to go back into the same stitch that we went into. So I went into this stitch, right? So I'm going to go back into it, yarn over and pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through. So there's your first increase. Now let's do it again. So go into the next stitch, which is the stitch right next to the stitch we just went into, right? So it's this one. And we're going to do 2 single crochets in that stitch, or 1 increase. So yarn over, pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through. So that's 1 stitch, and 1 single crochet, sorry. Now we are going to go into the same stitch again. So it may be hard for you to see, but it's like here, right? That's 2 single crochets. Go into the next stitch. So it's this one. Yarn over, pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through. So that's 3 increases. Go into the next stitch, which is this one. So that's 1 single crochet. We need to do another single crochet for it to be an increase. So then we're going to go into the same stitch, which is this one. Yarn over and pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through. Go into the next stitch. Single crochet, go into the same stitch and make another single crochet. So now we have 3 more increases to do. So you can see 1 single crochet, 1 increase is going to be done here, and then another increase is going to be done here, and then a 3rd increase is going to be done in the stitch that has the stitch marker. So one increase is done, 2 increases have been done, and now remove the stitch marker and do a stitch in, like do an increase, sorry, in the stitch that has the stitch marker. Okay, so I've done the increase, and now we are going to put the stitch marker back into the most recent stitch. So again, for me, I know where it is. If you look at it, it's this one, the top stitch that was just created. But if you can't tell, we're going to do my trick. So extend the loop that's on your hook, and you see it's the stitch closest to that loop. So it's this one. So then I'm going to put a stitch marker here. And that's it. That's the end of the round. So now for the next round, we are going to do 1 single crochet, then 1 increase. 1 single crochet, 1 increase all around. So first, we're going to go into a new stitch. So it's maybe hard to see, but it's this one. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So that's 1 single crochet. Done. Now we need to do 1 increase in the next stitch. So here's the next stitch. Right? So we're going to do an increase. So that's 2 single crochets in that stitch. And now we are going to go into the next stitch, which is this one. And do 1 single crochet. And then go into the next stitch, which is this one. And do an increase. And then keep doing that. So you see this one. It's 1 single crochet. Then go into this one and do 1 increase. And then go into this one, do 1 single crochet, then go into this one, do 1 increase, and so on. 1 single crochet, 1 increase, 1 single crochet, 1 increase, 1 single crochet, 1 increase, finally 1 single crochet. And now we've reached the stitch marker again, so we're going to remove it, do the increase, or usually you do whatever the pattern says to do. So this time it's an increase, so go in and increase like you normally would. And now we have to put the stitch marker back. So you're going to flip your work, or like not flip your work, like turn it this way so that you can see the V's, right? And mine is this one. But if you can't see, pull and see which stitch is closest to your loop that's on your hook. So it's this one, obviously. So put the stitch marker in and then pull on your working yarn to tighten the loop that's on your hook again. And there you go, you're done. So now we are going to do 2 single crochets and then 1 increase. So in this one, in a new stitch basically, you're going to do 1 single crochet. In another stitch, which is this one, you're going to do 1 single crochet. And in the next stitch, which is this one, I'm like trying to pinch it a little bit, you're going to do an increase. And that's all you're going to do. So in the next stitch, which is this one, you're going to do 1 single crochet. In the next stitch, which is this one, you're going to do another single crochet. And into the next stitch, which is this one, you're going to do an increase. It may be hard for you to see the stitches, but honestly, just put your hook where you feel like there's a new stitch, and it most likely is the right place. So this is 1 single crochet, go into the next stitch, another single crochet, go into the next stitch, and do 1 increase, and so on. So just keep doing that. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, increase, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, increase, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, increase, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, increase. Finally, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and then now that you've reached your stitch marker, you're going to remove it. Do this whatever the pattern says. So it's an increase again. So we're going to increase and take your stitch marker and put it in the latest stitch that you've created. So it's this one. And yeah, so you're going to keep doing that like for the rest of the pattern. Like I won't have to tell you to remove the stitch marker. You always know that once you reach the stitch marker, you're going to remove it. Do whatever the pattern says to do, and then put the stitch marker in the latest stitch that was created. And that's it. So now we are going to do 3 single crochets and then 1 increase. So go into the next stitch, do 1 single crochet. Go into the next stitch, do 1 single crochet. And go into the next stitch and do 1 single crochet. And then go into another stitch and do 1 increase. And you're going to keep doing that all around. So 3 single crochets and then 1 increase, and so on. So now for the next 7 rounds, we are going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch. So go into this stitch and do 1 single crochet. Go into another stitch and do another single crochet, and so on. You're going to do that all around until you reach the stitch marker. Then you're going to remove it, do the single crochet in that stitch that had the stitch marker, and put the stitch marker back in that stitch. And that's how you end the round, right? So you're going to do it 7 times where you remove the stitch marker and do the single crochet in that stitch and then put the stitch marker back, right? And then come back. Just in case you didn't understand, I'm going to remove the stitch marker, do my single crochet, and then take my stitch marker and put it back into the stitch. And that's the end of the round. So now I have to do 6 more rounds of single crochets all around for a total of 7. I'm going to start off by doing 3 single crochets in 3 different stitches. So 1, 2, and then 3. And so now to do a decrease, we're going to go into the first stitch and we're going to go into the front loop of the first stitch. So you know how the stitch has like 2 parts to it? And you know how we can like separate it? So this is the front loop and this is the back loop. So you're going to go only into the front loop of the first stitch and go into the front loop of the second stitch. And then yarn over and pull through 2 of these loops. You have 2 loops on your hook now. yarn over, and pull through both. There you go. So now do it again. So 3 single crochets in 3 different stitches, and then go into the front loop of the first stitch, go into the front loop of the second stitch, yarn over and pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through. So now you're going to keep doing that all around. So now we are going to do 2 single crochets and then 1 decrease all around. Now we are going to do 1 single crochet and then 1 decrease, 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, and so on all around. So now we are going to take our black yarn and we are going to make the whiskers. So I made sure to step the yarn, the face a little bit. Well, actually a lot. And now we are going to go into anywhere. So go inside and poke it where you want the whiskers to be. So I'm gonna poke it around here and I'm going to pull, and make sure you hold on one of the black yarn tails so that it doesn't come through, right? And then we are going to make a straight line like this and then poke it from the outside to the inside, right? And that's all you're going to do. So you're going to go usually from the inside to the outside, inside, look from the inside, and go through. And then you're going to go from the outside to the inside. Like that. And then finally, one more time, go from the inside to the outside, pull through, and then make your whiskers and go from the outside to the inside and go through. And there you go. There's your face, the whiskers. Now you're going to do the same thing on the other side. And now finally we are going to do 8 decreases and then come back so that we can fasten off together. Now all you're gonna do to fasten off is do a slip stitch. So go into the next stitch and just yarn over and pull through, and then pull through the loop that was on our hook, and that's it. And then cut a long tail so that you can sew off the hole closed. And now to sew off the hole, we're going to thread the yarn tail that we just left and go through the front loops or the top loops of the head. So make sure to go through all 8. And then pull through gently so that it closes, and then poke through the hole, like the middle of the hole, and then aim it or angle it outside. There you go. And then secure it by going through a couple stitches. And then you can cut your yarn and hide the tail inside the head. And that's it. I made 8 single crochets in a magic ring, and now we are going to increase 8 times. Now we are going to do 1 single crochet and then 1 increase. We are going to do 2 single crochets and then 1 increase all around. Okay, so now for the next 6 rounds, we are going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch and then fasten off by slip stitching and cut your yarn. Leave a long tail, a very long tail actually, so that you can sew on the body to the head. So I made 4 single crochets in a magic ring, and now for 2 rounds I'm going to do 1 single crochet in 1 stitch and then 1 increase in the next stitch. We are going to do 2 single crochets and then 1 increase, 2 single crochets, 1 increase all around. We are going to do 3 single crochets and then 1 increase all around, and then fasten off by doing a slip stitch and cut your yarn. To make the arms, we're going to do 8 single crochets in a magic ring, and now for 2 rounds we're just going to single crochet in each stitch and then come back so that we can color change to the second color. So I just finished making the 2 rounds of single crochets, and now we are going to switch to our secondary color. So mine is going to be yellow, and basically we are going to firstly take our secondary color and put it here. And now you see where like there's, okay, so there's the loop on our hook, and then there's like 2 parts of the stitch that we just made, right? It's this part and this part. So I'm going to remove my hook from the loop, and I'm going to go into the 2 kind of like stitches that we made. These 2. And now we are going to take our secondary color and make a loop like this. Hold it with our thumb and then pull through these 2 stitches. And there you go. Now you're going to take the white yarn, the one that's connected to the ball of yarn. You're going to take that and pull so that the loop that was on our hook tightens, and now the yellow is the one that's our working yarn, and it's going to be our loop. So now we can do 4 rounds of single crochets. So I'm just going to go into the next stitch and just do single crochets as usual. So 8 single crochets. And now you can cut your white yarn. You don't need to leave that big of a tail, since you can just hide it inside here. Yeah. Once you've done the 4 rounds of single crochets, you're going to slip stitch and then cut your yarn and leave a long tail so that you can sew it onto the body, and then make sure to stuff the hands. To make the legs, we are going to do 6 single crochets in a magic ring, and now we are going to increase 6 times. Now for 2 rounds, we are going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch, and then fasten off by slip stitching and cut your yarn. Leave a little bit of a tail so that you can sew it onto the body, and just repeat to make the second leg. So to make the bib, we basically are going to do 5 single crochets in a magic ring. And now, here's where it's going to be different. Instead of working around, we are going to just turn our work. So this is the direction of our work. We're going to turn it like this. And we are going to do 5 increases, starting from this one. So 1 increase, 2, 3, 4, and then finally 5. And now we are going to turn our work again like this way. So it was this way, now we are going to turn it this way, and now we are going to do 1 single crochet and then 1 increase 5 times. And so now that we're done, we are going to slip stitch, chain 1, sorry. So to chain 1, you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook like this and pull through, and then cut your yarn and leave a long tail. To make a bow, we are going to make a slip knot. So to do that, I'm going to make like a loop like this on my finger, right? And then you're going to take the loop, you're going to like flip it oppositely. So like this, right? It was like this, and now you're going to flip it like this. And so now you see the yarn that's in the middle. You're going to pull on it, and you're going to pull on this tail that we have at the same time. So And there you go, there's our slip knot. So now we are going to chain 17. So to chain again, we are going to wrap our yarn around our hook and pull through. Wrap your yarn around your hook and pull through. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And now we are going to chain an additional one, 18, and that's basically our turning chain. So it doesn't count. So now we are going to go into the second chain from our hook. So this is why we chained an extra one, because the first stitch or chain, first chain, we won't do anything in it. You see the 18th stitch or chain, that we made? We're not going to do anything in it. We're going to go into the 17th stitch chain. And we are going to go inside and make 1 single crochet. So go inside and wrap your yarn around your hook, pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook. Wrap your yarn, pull through. So that's 1 single crochet. And now we are going to go along the chain and we are going to do 1 single crochet in each of the chains. So this is 1 chain and we made 1 single crochet. Now we're going to go into the next chain and make another single crochet. So for a total of 17 single crochets. 3 single crochets, 4 single crochets, 5, so I'm going to single crochet across the chain and come back. So now that I've done all the 17 single crochets, I'm going to chain 1 again and then turn my work. And now we are going to skip the chain that we just made, like the additional chain that we just made, and we're going to go into the first stitch right here and do 17 single crochets again and go along the chain stitches and come back. So now I'm just going to chain 1 and then cut my yarn and leave a very long tail because we need to fold it. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to thread my pink yarn tail that I left from my bow, and then I'm going to fold my bow like this and go through the top stitches. So for the first one we went through only we went through only this side, right? Only this side. But now we are going to go through both sides, so from here and from here. And keep doing that until the end. Like, there isn't an amount of stitches that you have to go through. You just keep going through until you feel like it's secured. And then we are going to go through the top stitches until we reach the middle. So we're going to go through the top stitch of this one, 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 and until you're in the middle, right? And then you're going to wrap the yarn around your hook, around your bow, like this. So that takes the shape of a bow, and you're basically done with the bow. There you go. And then make sure to weave in the end of this one. Or you can secure it inside if you want, but yeah, I prefer to weave it in. Yeah. So now to sew on the head to the body, you're going to thread the blue yarn that we left, and simply you're going to put it like this, right, where it's facing towards us, and then you're going to take a stitch from the head, or a couple stitches, from the head, and then a couple stitches from the body, and then a couple stitches from the head, and so on, until the very end, and then you're going to hide it through the body or the head, whichever place you stop at. And that's it. You're going to basically repeat that for everything, right? That's how you sew on anything. So now I'm going to sew the ears onto the head. So thread your white yarn that you left from the ear, and then pick wherever you think is suitable. So I think it should be here, right? So I'm going to attach it here. I'm going to take a piece from the head. You see I'm going through the head. And then I'm going to go through a piece from the ear itself, right? Like a stitch from the ear. Then I'm going to go through a couple of stitches from the head. And then I'm going to go into a couple stitches from the ear. The reason why I'm going through a couple stitches is because we're working with plush yarn. So eventually, like the fluff parts are gonna fall, and then it's just gonna be the string. So yeah, make sure to go through a couple stitches. But if you're working with acrylic yarn, then it should be fine to go through every single stitch to make it even more secure. But yeah, that's essentially how we're going to sew everything on. You're going to go through a stitch from the head or wherever you're sewing, and then a stitch from the part. For example, if you're sewing the body onto the head, you're going to go into a stitch from the body, and then a stitch from the head, and then a stitch from the body, and then a stitch from the head, and so on. And yeah, then towards the end, you are going to secure it by hiding it inside the ear so that you don't have to weave it in, and you're done. So now for the bow, we are going to attach it the same way that we've attached the ears. So we are going to take a piece from the head, right? And then we are going to take a piece from the bow. And then we are going to take a piece from the head, and so on. You're just gonna keep doing that all around. And a piece from the bow. And then go from the back and secure it through the other side. And then I like to secure it from the other side as well. So I'll take a couple stitches, and then I'll take a stitch from the ear, from the bow. And there you go. It is secured. And now you can go through the head again so that you have some stitches so that you've hidden it, right?